Time flies when you're having fun. Kaden, are you available?
Sure, I'm right here.
Okay, terrific. So we're on our last session of the day. The microdata extraction tool, or MDAT. This is always a great presentation, so I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it for sticking out. It's late in the day. It's always it's always nice to have people still interested in. So first off, let me share my screen, and I'm going to go ahead and go off camera for now. Let me share my screen and get started. One second. Okay, great. So we talked this morning about data.census.gov, and what that is the Census Bureau's main pre-tabulated data dissemination platform. But sometimes you want something that's not tabulated and available on data.census.gov. And so that's when you use something like PUMs or microdata files. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, is not just the microdata files, but a tool that'll let you use these files. And so first off, let's just kind of start from the basics and talk about what is microdata and what's a PUMS file. So a PUMS file is a public use microdata file. It's the same thing as when we say microdata, we mean a PUMS file. It's anonymized, meaning there's no personal identifying information added or available. It's edited to protect your confidentiality, and it's accessible. So it's available not just through our microdata access or MDAT, but it's also available on our microdata API, and you can also access it through FTP sites and using ASCII files. And then on the other side right here, it says microdata, and microdata are individual responses. So these are individual responses from the survey questions per what we call a record, and they must be tabulated and weighted by a user to be able to be used. So hopefully this next will make a little bit more sense. So what's the difference between data.census.gov and microdata access? So here are the individual survey responses, and from there it goes to two types of files that are protected for confidentiality. So our internal file, we then tabulate we tabulate the data and put the weights attached to it, and then release it on data.census.gov. And then down here, we put it in the public use file, and then the public use file, you can go in and tabulate it yourself. And so different reasons for them. So the estimates are created using individual records and are only available in census program area staff. That the only available with this internal file, but of course everybody is available to access it through data.census.gov once it's been tabulated. Now with microdata, it's a little different in that this public use file is accessible to the public, and this is just a tool to use that file to create estimates. Now, the pros and cons of using data.census.gov versus microdata access. So since it's using the internal file, the pros are that when it's tabulated and released by data.census.gov, it provides a more precise estimate. You have a wider range of data sets. Not all of our surveys and programs have microdata or PUMS files attached to them. You have more geographies available. And you don't really have to have a true in-depth knowledge of variables to use this. You have a topic, you know what geography you want, you can go in and find a table, look through it, and say, yeah, that's pretty much what I want, and then you use the table. So the cons are you are limited to the cross tabulations and tables that are pre-provided by data providers. So that means that when an estimate shows that the age range that you get are, under 5, and then you have 5 to 17, and then you have 18 to 24. But what about a 21-year-old? I just want to know 21-year-olds. That's not going to be available in a pre-tabulated table. Something like a microdata access would be what you were looking for. And then the other con is a limited ability to customize tables. Kind of the same thought. It's based on what tables are available, and you sometimes have to conform a little bit. That it's not exactly what I'm looking for, but it's close enough, and I'll use it. But some of those questions you have to say to kind of ask yourself. Now, with the microdata access, some of the pros is that you can provide custom estimates when those pre-tabulated census tables aren't available. So if you wanted the income of 21-year-olds, you wouldn't be able to find that in a tabulated table, but you could create it using the microdata access using the PUMS file. You do have more historical data available. We do census data.census.gov typically goes back to 2010 data for like ACS in 2000. There's more historical data, especially for the CPS, available through the PUMS data. And it does include data sets not available in data.census.gov. Some of the cons: limited geography. Really, you're only looking at nation, state, and in some cases like ACS, you have PUMAs, which are designated places from your state data centers, actually, that are about 100,000 populations, and they're defined. And sometimes that's the give and take. Well, I can't go down to track with this, but I really want to know about those 21-year-olds' incomes. Maybe I'll choose a PUMA and go from there. And it provides less precise estimates. We don't provide margins of error attached to this. So it's, you have to know that going forward. And, the pre-tabulated tables are run against our replicate weights and provide levels of significance next to it with all the estimates. So definitely something as a con there. You do have to understand variables to a certain extent. You need to understand what you're doing, and I can show you some tips and tricks and places to learn a little bit more. But it does cause you to have to learn it a little bit more. And like we said, no margins of error provided. So, what would you see the difference? So, just showing an example of Maryland in 1999. You're looking for, there's approximately 121,160 males that work in computer and mathematical occupations. But if you want to know something specific about males who are in Maryland that are web developers specifically, microdata access could give you that information. And so those are just the give and take of what you have that you have to make these decisions with. Data dictionaries, very important to have. These data dictionaries are available through the surveys. I've linked 2 of them right here, one for the American Community Survey, and then one for the CPS ASIC, our current population survey, the annual and social and economic supplement, where we have those national health insurance, income, and poverty estimates that come out. And what it does is it gives you just a little bit more information about what those variables are. And here's kind of an example of an ACS one when you're looking at, here's one for citizenship. And sorry, beg your pardon. There you go, a little bit better. Citizenship, so it's citizenship status. Normally in the pre-tabulated tables, you have it aggregated up, and this you have to decide the variable. So it's born in the U.S., born in Puerto Rico, Guam, or the Virgin Islands, or Northern Marianas, born abroad to American parents. All of these different categories. And you just have to have a better feel for these variables. But that's where the data dictionaries come in that are available. And we also have some things within the tool that give you a little bit more information to help a little bit. But there's definitely more work on your end for this. And then here's just an example of explaining a little bit more. So when we're looking at the income to poverty ratio recode, which is extremely, popular if you wanted to look at what's in poverty or maybe 250% of poverty or create some recode like that. POV-PIP is the name of the variable. It's a numeric variable. There's the length of the variable. And then a description of the variable, and then the responses. And this is the possibility from it. So some of them require recodes, and we'll kind of show you that as we go forward. So first off, I want to jump in and have an example of poverty, sex, and age for the United States. Now, I want to show you where this kind of comes from. We put a problem out of we need poverty status crossed with sex and a custom age group for the US. But none of the, we're looking in what's available for the CPS, their tables, but none of the published CPS ASIC poverty tables have this cross of characteristics available. So once you've checked and verified that the Census Bureau has not already created that specific estimate you're looking for, then it's a good opportunity to go in and create your own table and estimate using Mdat. You wouldn't want to go in and create, a poverty estimate for the nation because you're not going to have the precision what's already been tabulated and what's already been released. So it's always important to kind of go in and check and see if we don't have something. If we don't have something, go forward and try it through MDAT. All right, so I'm going to go in. I'm going to get my bearings. Okay, here I am. And is this over? So I'm going to data.census.gov, our landing page. I'm going to try to make this just a little bit bigger for you. Okay. And if you go to the top on the right-hand side, it's apps. We talked about this morning or earlier this afternoon. It's going to be on your left-hand side. It says microdata. If you click on that, that takes you to our MDAT site. Oops. And then from here, now I think I made it a little bit too big. So let me mess around with this for a little bit. Okay. So from here, you have a selected data set, the drop down, and here are all the data sets that are available. Now I'm going to use the CPS March supplement because I want to use this annual social and economic, this CPS ASIC supplement. I'm going to click on this. And then it shows me the vintage, what's available. There, all the way back until 1992. But I'm just going to take the latest one, and then I'm going to click next. Now it's my chance to select the variable. So conceptually, this is very different than data.census.gov. You don't see tables, you have to select your variables. But let me show you what to do in a way that's just a little bit kind of easier to manage. So first off, we have an age, sex, and poverty variables that we're looking for. So the first off is age. Well, age is right here, but let me show you ways you can do it. You can either put the variable in if you know what the variable is. You could put a label, which is a word somewhere within that label. So trying something like age is always it's a great way to do it, or you might have to play around a little bit. Or you can use this drop down of the topics. So age and sex, click on this. It shows what things are available. I can also go ahead and just type in age and see what's available. So there's lots of things with age in it, but when we look, it says demographics, age, one value, and then I go all the way to the right and it says details. I'm going to click on that because it's what I think it is. It's giving you a string variable 0 to 85 for age. That's exactly what I want. It requires a recode, and you'll see this flash up at the top that it's a continuous variable and you need to create a recode. That's fine. Don't worry. We'll show you how to do it. So you can shut that off. And it's been populated. You see the one data cart says 1 and we're good. Just know that you have to delete whatever you put in, whether it's a topic or whatever, to go to the next thing, or it'll kind of throw you off. So the next thing was we needed, um, we wanted the demographics sex. So I see A_sex. I'm going to look at the details and it gives me a value of 1 male, 2 female. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm going to click on the checkbox. I see that it's been added to my data cart and I'm good. So I'm going to take that out. And now I'm going to look for poverty. I want to see what variables are available for poverty. I really want like a person level poverty. So I'm going to look and what's available. And it's always nice to have the details. That's why it doesn't replace a data dictionary, but it does have some nice features where you can kind of orient yourself a little bit. So I look down, there's lots of flags, poverty cutout, and then I have the PRLIS variable, poverty level of persons. It has 5 values, so let me see if that's what it is. So just know there's lots of scrolls on the side, so if you can't see something, that might be the possibility. So this is what I want. It shows not in universe, and not in poverty universe, below poverty level, and then it has percentages of poverty all the way to 150 and above. That's it. That's what I want. So I'm going to click on that. And then I don't have anything else. It's added in my cart. I can go to the next thing. So moving to the right, I want to select my geography. We just want to do the US. For whatever reason, they do not have a US option. It is a default if you don't choose a geography. Just know that, but it does throw people. And in the new rebuild of Mdat, I have asked if they would please put that option in because it would be nice to be able to choose it in a couple of other things and have them all on the same table. So we know that it's there, we just don't see it. So we're just going to scoot to the next and do the data cart. Now, this is where we do our recodes. So I'm going to show you how to do a recode. So I'm going to start with age. So I click on age if it's not already clicked on. And then I go over here and I click on create custom group. And then I want to use this slider because I want to create an under 18 population. So I'm going to slide this to 17. And then I'm going to change this group label, not elsewhere classified, to under 18. And I can label it whatever I want. It's my table. So I can, whatever you want. And then I'm going to save group. And now I have my under 18, and then I have what's called not elsewhere classified, but it's everything else. So I'm going to go in and edit this group. And I'm going to go in and do 18 to 24. So I'm going to slide on over to 24. There we go. And I'm going to label it 18 to 24. And then I'm going to save group. See, it's been added. Edit the remainder. I'm going to edit the group again. And now I'm going to do 25 to 49. And if my hand gets a little weird there, I can just highlight it and change to 49. And it'll do it for me, which is nice. Sometimes my hands get stuck or I don't know, shakes. I have no idea. So I'm going to change it to 25 to 49. And then save the group. And then the same thing, I have everything else as not elsewhere classified. I'm going to edit this group and make it a 50 or over group. So I'm going to change the label 50 and over. I could put 50 plus, I could put whatever I want. Make sure I click on that and it's 50 to 85. And 85 is where they top code it. So that's the end. And then we save it. Save group. Now I have everything from under 18, 18 to 24, 25 to 49, and then 50 and over has been recoded. And if you'll look on the left-hand side, my A_age is now A_age RC1, which means it's my RC1, my recode 1. So that's the one I want to use. And then if I look at the person level poverty, I want those options, so I'm not going to mess with it. If I wanted to change it, I could change it. And but I don't. Or I could choose one or the other. I want to leave all of those the way. The same thing with the sex variable. If I wanted to just see females, I could uncheck males and only get females back. But I'd like to have them both, so I'm good. So it's just this one recode. And so I'm going to go moving to the right to the table layout. Now, first thing is there's a drop down that gives you age or an average age or count. I'm going to switch to count because I want the counts. And then it defaults and gives me something. I'm not crazy about how this looks. It's all completely personal preference, and sometimes you have to make it a little slower, lower so you can see everything. Personal preference. But I want to make sure in my columns, I think I want the poverty levels to be in the columns, and I'm going to put the A_sex down to the rows. And I need to make sure my recode gets on the table. So I'm going to put it up here. And as you see, it's moving it around. So if I like males and get the number, and then I can have the ages subset under there, or I could even move it around and have each one have the age and then have male. It's however you want. It's your table. So I like it this way. So I'm going to do it that. It looks right. Those question marks just mean that it hasn't created a table that you're still moving. And then at the far bottom right, you view table. It starts thinking and it pulls up your estimates. Up here, just know that there's some things. So there's the vintage. You could go in and decide, oh, I want to do 2023 now. And then it'll recalculate and give you that. You can also go in and change the weighting if you want to, but we default to giving you a weight based on the estimates that the variables that you used. And then you can also move things from here. It's kind of the same way you move things ever. You can move things like that or put it back, whatever you want. Different ways of using it. You can go in and even go back to customizing variables if you wanted to see something again, change it again. And you can also download and share the estimates here. So if you click on download table view CSV, and then open the file. Here's your download. It comes in as an Excel, so you have to kind of finagle it, but it's all there and your estimates are there. So you can save it that way, which is nice. And you can also bookmark. We talked about that at the last one. So copy your bookmark. So you can go and then go back, and cut and paste, and then you have your table saved. So it'll default to this first one for a second, and then it'll take you to your table so that it's there. You can always go back and from there you can then customize variables or change it or do whatever, or at least you've got the table that you originally pulled together. All right. Okay, so I'm going to skip to the next one. Next 32. Okay. The next example is using field of degree by detailed occupation in New Jersey. Field of degree, detailed, especially detailed occupation. There's so many options for it. There's so many different occupations. So it's a really nice way of doing some research on things that you wouldn't be able to see in a tabulated table. So for example, the problem was what we need field of degree by detailed occupation data, but none of the published ACS tables have this cross of characteristics available. And we went in and checked this table and it doesn't have all that we're looking for. So perfect reason to go in and create our own table. All right, so I'm going to go back here. I'm actually just I can go back to explore data, and it clears everything for me and takes me back to the beginning of data of the Mdat. And then I'm going to create my next table. So I'm just going to use the ACS 1 year. It's already the default right here. and I'm going to use the latest that's available for right now. It's coming out very soon for 2023, but for right now, that's all we have is 2022. So I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to go to next. My two variables are going to be field of degree and occupation. So if I had a data dictionary, I'd know exactly what those variables are. And if not, I can go in and put degree and see what comes up. So I have two. I have recoded field of degree first entry and recoded degree second entry when you have multiple degrees. But I'm going to go for the first one. I'm going to look and see there's 173 values. And I look and I'm like, this is what I'm looking for. You have computer science and all kinds of things. So I'm going to click on this, say that's what I want. And then I'm going to go to the next one, occupation. So I'm going to take this degree out so it opens to everything. I can type in, if I know the variable, OCCP, and it comes up, the occupation recode, or like we said, we could type in, we could go to occupation. Here we go, occupation here. And occupation recode for 2018 or later based on 2018 OCC codes. And then you look at the details that are available. And this is what I'm looking at, is 531 recodes, exactly what I want. I'm going to select it. And then I'm going to go to select geographies. And then from the geography, we wanted the state. So I'm going to go to state, go to New Jersey. And then the data cart, I'm going to go in. And I wanted to look at the field of degree specifically of nursing. So what I'm going to end up doing is I don't need to create a custom group. I just need to uncheck everything. So click on the include in universe, and I just want nursing. So I'm actually going to type in nursing in this little response label here to see when it comes up. And I'm going to click on this because I just am interested in the field of degree of nursing. And then from the occupation, I could go in and click and choose whichever one I want when it goes into more medical or any of those things, but I'm just going to leave it open and not doing anything. I'd like to do more of an exploration of nursing, who's, what occupation are people who have their first entry was for field of degree was nursing. So I'm going to go to my table layout. It shows count. It gives me a default of wrong because occupation's not even on the table. So I got to make sure that puts that on the table, right? And then the selected geographies, I could put that as a column. Oops. Or nursing could be in the column, right? I could even take selected geographies off because we know that table is for New Jersey. So it really doesn't matter, but it doesn't hurt to have it so that it's for New Jersey and it's your recoded field of degree for nursing. And then if you see, it shows all of these going down. That's what I want. So I'm going to view it from there. And then I see, and this I think is such a nice way of exploring the data because you can go through and be like, I had no idea that 324, were computer information systems managers. And so it's just a nice way of doing some sort of kind of researching and playing with the data and seeing what's available. And especially things like this, that there's so many options. And 52 went to the clergy. So anyway, nice, neat way to kind of play with the data and see what's available. All right, I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to clear this out. I can actually just clear this logo the same way, and it'll take me back to data.census.gov. And go to the apps and click on microdata. All right, now the next one is sex and earnings by 10-year age groups in New Jersey. So we've liked sex and earning data for 10-year age groups in New Jersey, looked at the published ACS data. for this cross of characteristics, and nothing's available. So this has some nice breakdowns, but it doesn't give you age as well. So perfect excuse to go in for Mdat and create our own tables. All right. So I am going to use ACS. I could even change this to the ACS 5-year data if I'd like. Might as well use 2022, the latest, or I could choose any of the other ones. And then I'm going to go to next. And the variables are age, sex, and then earnings. So I'm going to go in and do my label for age. And it's age P, and it gives you a little different because this is ACS data versus the age variable for CPS data. A little bit different. It goes to 1 through 99, and then it has a special call out for under 1. But that's it. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and it tells you that you're going to have to do a recode. And then I'm going to choose pull up the sex variable. Same thing. It gives you male 1, female 2. That's what I wanted. And then the last one was earnings. So I'm going to look at what's available. So there's total person's earnings, and then there's also adjustment factor for income and earnings amount, but it's the person earnings that I'm looking for. I'm going to look at the details. So this gives you the estimates, also gives you loss and then no earnings. That's a lot, and but we can figure it out. We can kind of lump some things together and do some breakouts. So I'm going to click on this one. And again, it talks about having to do a recode, but we know that. All right, I'm going to go select geographies, state, New Jersey, and then the data cart. All right, so the first one I want to tackle is this PERNP, the total person's earnings. And so the first thing I want to do is create custom group. And then I want to check the loss category. So there's a loss 1 to 9,999, and then there's also a loss of 10,000 or more. I'm going to click on those two and label them loss of income. Oh, however you spell it, and then save it. And then I have that, and then everything else. So let me go to edit group again. And then I want to get where it's the no earnings. So I'm going to click on no earnings and NA. And I'm going to label that NA and no earnings. And save it. Now I'll go back to the not elsewhere classified, edit group. And now I'm just in the positive amounts, and I get to then slice and dice them how I want. So I'm going to do 1 to 2,449,999. Okay. And then I'm going to call that under 250K. Oh, that's 300. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, luckily you can change those. Okay, here we go. Now save group, and then back to the not elsewhere classified. Edit that, and I want to do 250,000 to 500,000. And I'm going to just 1, 2, 3, 100,000. So change this to 250K to 100K. Save group. And then the rest, I'm just going to put over 500,000. And I'm going to label that. Okay. And then I'm going to click that because I want all of that, the 500,001 to their ending amount, and save group. So now I have all of my total person's earnings in the breakdown that I'm interested in. Okay, and then I'm going to see the age group. So I'm going to do an auto group. We wanted in tens, right? So I'm going to go to the age P. And then the first thing I'm going to do, oops, seriously, trying to see this a little bit further. Hold on, oh, here we go. There we go. So now I can see. I knew there was an under 1 year and I just couldn't see it. Okay, so I'm going to create a custom group. And then I am going to choose 1 to 19. 19. And I'm going to change this to under 20. And if you look, I've also have my under 1 clicked as well. So I'm going to check that. So I have under 20 and now all as well classified. I'm going to edit this. And I'm going to go ahead and click on auto group. And it has a selection of between 20 to 99, which is exactly what I'm looking for because that's the remainder group. And then it gives me this auto group variable. This is a lifesaver if you're like, especially people that want to have individual age. They'll just want income or anything for individual ages. This is a lifesaver. You have to make a recode for every single one, but this does an auto group for you. So I'm going to start at 20, end at 99, and I want to do groups of 10 and then auto group, and boom, it does it all for me. So nice. I love this feature. Okay. Now I'm going to go to sex. I can choose to choose one or the other, but I want both of them, so I'm not going to do anything with it. If I don't do anything and make a recode, then it's just going to show me whatever values are available in that variable. All right, so now I'm going to go to table layout. Use the drop down that gives you an average of age. I want the count. And then I look and see what they've done. I'd like to make sure that my recodes get to the columns. And so I've got, let's see, I've got my earnings recode in the columns. The selected geographies is just New Jersey. I can actually just kick that off the table. I can put in the rows the age, and then I can actually put, if I want to put the male and female, I can pull it that way. I could flip it. I could do anything that I want. Again, it's my table, but I like it the way it looks like here. So I'm going to go ahead and view table. All right, and there are my estimates. Again, no margins of error added to it, but it gives you a calculation that you don't have to have statistical software to be able to put together your table. All right, I'm going to show you a real quick number, example 4, and then we'll throw it out to questions. All right. That is 81. Okay. So I want to look at employment status by sex for the Dominican population in New Jersey using PUMAs. So I'll show you how to do that. So we need employment status by sex for the Dominican population in New Jersey PUMAs. None of the published ACS tables have this cross of characteristics available for employment status. So this is the sex by occupation table. So we took a look. It gives you occupation, but it doesn't give you the employment status as well. All right, so great excuse to use this great tool. All right, so I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to click on Explore Data. So we're back at the thing at the main data microdata site. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it at ACS 1 year for 2022 and click Next. And my variables are going to be Hispanic, employment, and sex. So I'm going to go ahead and put the label for Hispanic. Let's see what comes up. And I have a recoded detailed Hispanic origin, 24 values. Detail, let me see what's there. This looks like what I want. So it starts Mexican, Puerto Rican, goes all the way down to all other Spanish, Hispanic, or Latino. That's what I want. So I'm going to click on this. I know that one of them is the sex variable, so I'm going to pull that one up. I could have actually put the variable name because we knew that one. I'm going to click on that. And then the last one was employment. Now, I've worked with this. I know that the employment recode is called ESR, but I'm going to go ahead and put employment in. And assuming we don't know, there's an ESR is employment status recode. I'm going to show you what it looks like. It gives you civilian employed at work, civilian employed with a job not at work, unemployed, armed forces at work, armed forces with a job but not at work, and then not in the labor force. That's what I want. So I'm going to click on it. I see that all 3 variables have been added to the data cart, and now I'm going to select my geographies. Now this time we want Pumas, so I'm going to click on Pumas, go to New Jersey. Now this is the nice thing about Pumas. You can use our Tiger web service to look and drill down and see what your Pumas are, but your state representatives of your state data center have done an excellent job of kind of fully qualifying what the names of these are. So these are county based, and then it tells you what townships or areas are added to it. So I'm going to look at Passaic County, and I'm just going to choose all 4 of them. But it's nice that if you wanted just one or one area, you know what these names are and that they're added and they're already in the label. So it's not just a number where it's, 7829 and you don't know what that means. You've got to look it up. It's nice that it's fully labeled. Great job with that. All right, so we're back to the data cart. I am going to recode Hispanic because we just wanted Dominican, right? So I'm going to go to the HISP variable. I don't have to create a recode because I just want one of those variables. So I'm going to unclick everything and I'm going to go to Dominican and click on that. And that's all I have to do. The sex variable, we're fine with both of them. And ESR, we're fine with that too. So we could actually decide that we only want to see 1 or 2, or we want to lump them a little bit more, armed forces together. We can do that, but we're nearing the end of the time. So I'll just show you that at least we can get for this Hispanic origin. So, but it's nice. Again, you can always go back once you've looked at something and be like, I'd like to pare this down a little bit, and you can go back and edit your variables. So going to table layout, it already says count. And then I'm going to put Hispanic in my Dominican variable on the columns. I'm going to put ESR or employment. I'm going to put that in the rows. I'm going to put my geography because I think we might want to put it up here, but that might be too much. So maybe we'll put the sex variable down here. I don't know. It's nice that you can play with it a little bit. We could actually put the Hispanic, the Dominican, since it's only 1, not even on the table because it's already in the universe, right? It's already Dominican. You're only seeing Dominican from here. And so just might make it a little easier to see your table and understand it. So this makes a little bit sense for me. I like geographies on the top anyway. And then you have the breakout of male by employment and then female by employment. And that looks good to me. I'm going to view my table. And it pulls it up. And then from here too, again, you can always go back and change your and decide maybe you just, you don't really care about males. You just want females. And then you can go back to the table layout and then you only see females. So nice way to save things and be able to edit it if you do go into this download and share and copy the bookmark. And then you can go back, reuse it, and then, as this almost a starting point, and then go back in and play around back and forth with it and, however you want to do it. So with that, I'm going to show you where our resources are one more time and then turn it back to Lynn really quickly. Just so you know, here's we have a lot of materials on Mdat. We also have a Mdat workshop that's a 3 hour long workshop. It's long, but we've got people in it all the time that just we give you examples and you can walk through and get help for it. And it's all virtual. Again, our email updates. And here's, how to stay connected with us. This is our resources page with the help button on the main page. But please use also our feedback button, which is census.data at census.gov. We have people manning that within, all the time within working hours, and we try our best to get back with you that day. It may take a day or two, but we really do strive for a day. So it's not a black hole. If you have questions, we'll be there. Someone will be able to answer for you. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Lynn.
All right. Thank you very much, Kenan.
Welcome.
I wanted to add on to what Kenan mentioned related to geography and the microdata. Every 10 years, we review the PUMA areas, which is the building block of the microdata. We make use of our metropolitan planning organizations to help us review that. And we stipulate that we want those geographies to conform to counties and to whatever extent municipalities. Based on the population thresholds for the areas, which is 100,000 or more, we can do 17 of the 21 counties. 2 of our counties fall below that threshold and need to be combined with other PUMA areas. So we cannot get those county boundaries proper. We do have 5 municipalities that we maintain boundaries for. Newark, Jersey City, Patterson, Elizabeth, and Lakewood Township. So if you want to work with those boundaries at the municipal level, those proper municipal boundaries, you can with the PUMA areas. They're configured to allow you to have municipal level data for those 5 municipalities. So I want to thank our metropolitan planning organizations. They play a terrific role every 10 years reviewing and making corrections based on population growth to the PUMA areas. And a lot of that is transportation based. So kudos to them, and we appreciate their help every 10 years in reviewing those PUMA areas. So that's just a little background on how we go about that process every 10 years. Okay, so let's open it up for questions. I have some here. We'll try to answer. There was one question from the last census. There's a link in there that explains how the Census Business Builder leverages ESRI's ArcGIS platform. That may be helpful to answer some of your questions. The data dictionary question, I included, I responded with the PUMS documentation page on the Census Bureau's website. You'll find a lot of valuable documentation there on how to work with the PUMS data itself. Okay. I would seek to compare data in most, if not all of these areas between those of working age and with and without disabilities. Is it a difficult task to process?
For those of working age with and without disabilities. Oh, are you asking if is it difficult to process the PUMS table or to put it together? Is that, I'm sorry, I'm just making sure I understand.
I think he's trying to put together a table for as many geographies as possible of those working age that have and do not have disabilities. You should be able to do that in Mdat, I would think. Yeah.
You should be able to. Yeah. And if you have if you have some problems or issues, we'd be happy to walk you through it.
Yeah, and Vito, you can shoot me an email as well. We can walk you through that process as well. So, comment, this is awesome. Another comment, cool use of bookmarking. Another comment, we're big fans of Mdat. Are there any plans to add a feature that estimates margins of error? We would really, really like that.
Yes, I think that people would definitely like that. There are no plans right now, because it would be multiple layers. But I don't know of any plans right now, but I will definitely take it back as a real request.
Yeah,
I
it
think
is a
that would be
difficult,
fantastic.
yeah, it is a
Right.
difficult process when you work with the PUMS file proper. To do that, there's approximately 80 different replicate weights that need to be employed to compute margins of error for various levels of data. So it's not an easy process.
Right, right. And we would have to do it on the fly, as you're calculating this table. And you can't do 80 replicate weights on the
It would,
fly. And
it,
yeah, it would take
yeah,
away
it would
from
use,
the instantaneous of the work. It would be it would it's a big ask. But you are not alone. People have been asking for it. But
yeah,
I will definitely take it back. We would love to be able to do something. It's a huge hill to climb for various reasons, like Len mentioned.
yeah, it would make a lot of use of computer resources, I'm sure, like you said, doing it on the fly. Um, yeah, so I don't envy you trying to add that in. That will probably be a difficult process, but obviously one that's in demand. Okay, so okay, I heard you mention that margins of error weren't available within MDAT, but is there any way of calculating a margin of error for these estimates? For example, you pointed out that the microdata showed that 52 nursing degrees had occupations in the clergy, but I'm sure that's 52 plus or minus some value. It would be nice to know at least an order of magnitude to the error.
Um, I think that you can look on the PUMS documentation, and they might give you a little bit better idea. I don't know if they provide a factor or something on how to create, but a margin of error on there. But no, I mean everything is, it's 52, knowing that that's the date, that was what was calculated specifically from the PUMS file that was, and the variables that were chosen, but it does not include any kind of MOE or level of, statistical inaccuracy. It doesn't have any of that attached to it.
Okay. Do you happen to know offhand if any of the data sets vintages offer data at the census tract level? Uh,
Not in the PUMS file. The PUMS file only goes down to the Pumas for ACS.
right, right. Yeah, there's a population threshold for
Right.
the Pumas. And again, 100,000 in population in terms of the geography. So it would not be possible to do all tracks. Um, as you know, it just wouldn't be possible based on that threshold.
Right.
Um, see, let's see what happened. I'm so appreciative of you walking us through the recode. This is super valuable info. Um, put the data correct. All right, put the data together. Correct. Okay, thank you. Okay. Let's see. To address the earlier question, the part of the URL that specifies the geographic filters is G equals, and there's a URL here. And the URL household type specifies Phipps, Mercer, Middlesex, Monmouth counties respectively, and Atlantic City, Hamilton metropolitan area. So
it's just breaking down the
yeah.
URL and how the construction of the URL. Some people do like to go in there and fiddle with it,
Right.
you know, and change things as they want. Kind of like I was trying to show y'all at the earlier one about changing the table ID when you have a URL. So some of those things are kind of the same, you know, same possible here, but you have to know a lot. You have to know those geo identifiers. You have to know some, you know, the Phipps codes. It makes it very specific, but it is possible. It is possible.
Yeah, the problem with doing it this way is you need to know the PUM's geographies, because when you get to 4 counties in New Jersey, Atlantic, Cape May, Cumberland, and Salem, there are combined areas there. You are not getting the proper county boundaries. So it may, I'm not sure if you go the URL way, if it will spit back at you that the data is not available, but those 4 counties are the ones that need to be combined based on the population thresholds. Let's see. You happen to know offhand if any? Okay, thank you for the answer. Okay, so we've gotten through all the questions. Are there any more questions for Kenan? Great questions, by the way, folks. Really good questions. Going once. Going twice. Okay, Kenan, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We appreciate having you every year. If anybody has any other questions related to the microdata, they can always send them over to us. We work with the microdata quite a bit. You can email me and I'll try to provide an answer for you. And if I can't, I'll get you to the people who can answer it. So
Happy to help.
Yep, absolutely. All right, that wraps up the meeting for another year. We appreciate all our presenters, especially the ones that come back every year for us. We're very thankful to have them. Thank you, everyone, for making this a very successful meeting. You guys are also part of this process with your questions and any feedback that you can provide on any of these subjects. We will be sending out a post-meeting email that has some links on it to other presentations as well as some of our publications. And we'll send out another email to everyone once all the videos and slide decks are put up on our website. So thanks again for another great year, and we'll see you again next year. Take care, everyone.